Happy 2023. The question has come up about what to tell consumers when they want to make a lowball offer, especially on a bank-owned foreclosure. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into the resources and considerable effort put into pricing a bank-owned REO, as we call them, foreclosure. So let's start from day one of the first time a payment is missed. We kind of know the story. The payment is late. They have a 30-day late on their mortgage. And the first thing that happens is the bank orders an exterior BPO. That's the guy that parks at the curb, takes a few pictures of the house, freaks the occupants out because they don't know who the hell this person is, looking at their house. They have no idea who it is. Well, it's probably someone sent there by the lender to start the exterior BPO. They are instructed to not disturb the occupants, but it's still a little creepy to see someone out there at the curb taking pictures of your house when you've been late on your mortgage. Now, what happens beyond that is that, especially here in New York, it's about a 1 or 2 year process before it goes from that first missed payment to going on the market. So every month that mortgage is in default, there's going to be another BPO ordered by the lender. So that 6, 8, 9 months in, the bank has a pretty thick file on the property. Probably not a paper file like that. Now, at some point, there will be a final judgment of foreclosure on the property. The bank will put it up for auction, and in all likelihood, it does not sell on the courthouse steps at auction, which means it has been passed on by the institutional investors. At that point, it becomes a active listing with a brokerage like us. We've been doing this for about 10 years. We do represent banks in this process. Now, at some point, the occupants will be either evicted or they abandon the property. And another concurrent process with all this has been the preservation of the property. Once the property is unoccupied, it has to be secured, it has to be winterized, the locks have to be changed, the pipes have to be emptied, it has to be completely winterized and secured. Every couple of weeks, every month at least, the REO broker and the preservation company have to do a check on the property to make sure that the grass isn't overgrown, that there's been no vandalism, that everything is in order, the snow has been shoveled, no squatters, etc., etc. Okay? By the time that property goes back to the bank after the auction, after the failed auction, there are literally dozens of valuation reports on that property. And we know, typically within 1 or 2%, how the market is going to perform. So the idea that, well, they're asking 500, let's offer them 350, see what they say. No, we actually know what they're going to say. They're going to say no, all right? And if you explain to your prospective buyer this process that the property's gone through, they will at least appreciate the amount of resources that have gone into making sure that the house is priced right. And here's the other thing about that to understand as well, and that is, even if you do make that lowball offer, you're not going to get an answer. And if you do get an answer, it's going to be no. The asset manager will either ignore it, say no, and the listing agent is certainly not going to have time to do any diplomatic massaging of the whole thing. And probably somebody else is going to make a more realistic offer on the property and go forward. The asset manager and the decision makers at the lender are also very reticent to do business with somebody that is that red flaggy, amateurish to make such a tone-deaf, unrealistic offer. It's just a bad sign. It's a bad red flag. So we're talking about a 1 to 2 year process of constantly revising the market value of the property, a strong familiarity with the property due to occupancy checks, winterization, the management of the property, and everything like that. Smart specialized industry specialists who get how to price it properly. And when you add it all up, you got people who know a little bit more about realistic market value than the lowball consumer. Use that to your advantage. Use that to educate your client, and you will be a more successful agent with a better educated, better instructed client. Good luck. Happy New Year.